We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Beis in Meseches Nedarim. This is Nedarim Daf 73b. The Mishnah says, Bogeres Sheshasa Yud Beis Chodesh. Let's say you have a Bogeres and she waits 12 months. Generally, you wait 12 months from the time of the Erusin to the time of the Nisuin. So the case over here is that the 12 months have elapsed and they haven't yet gotten married. The Almona Lamed Yom, or let's say by an Almona, when you marry a widow, you generally wait 30 days for the Nisuin. Again, that time has elapsed and they haven't yet gotten married. The Ran over here points out, Habogeres Sheshasa Yud Beis Chodesh, the Bogeres, again, that's a woman who has reached full adulthood, so she's waited 12 months. Hataritzna Lola El Begemara, Bogeres Vishashasa Yud Beis Chodesh. Earlier in the Masechta, the Gemara says it doesn't really mean a Bogeres that waits 12 months, because a Bogeres actually doesn't have to wait 12 months. The Gemara deals with that earlier. What it means is a Bogeres waits for her prescribed amount of time, or let's say a situation where it's not a Bogeres and she waits for the 12 months, or an Almana 30 days. In all of these cases, the point is that the time for the Nisuin has arrived and they have not yet gotten married. So Rabbi Eliezer says, since at this point in time the husband is actually chayiv to provide her sustenance, to provide her mizonos, so therefore he also is able to annul her vows. But the Chachamim say, the husband does not annul the vows until she actually enters into his reshus, until the actual nisuin. And the Gemara says, Amar Rabba says, Rabbi Eliezer u'Mishnah Rishona Amru Davar Echad. Rabbi Eliezer and the first version of the Mishnah, this is talking about a Mishnah in Ksubas, they say the same thing. The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Nosen lebesula Yud Beis Chodesh lefarnes atzma. Again, we give a besula 12 months to get herself ready for the marriage. Higia Yud Beis Chodesh. Now, when the 12 months arrive, let's say they don't actually have the Nisuin, but at that point in time, Ochelas Mishalo, she can already eat from his property, meaning again, he provides her Mizonos, V'ochelas Betruma, and she could eat Truma, talking about, let's say she's betrothed to a Kohen. Aval Hayavam, but if you're talking about a situation of Yibum, in other words, she has to do Yibum now with the brother-in-law, so in that case, Eino Machel Betruma, at that point in time, she's not allowed to eat Truma just because the time has arrived to do Yibum. There we require the actual Yibum. And the Mishnah continues, Asta Shisha Chadashim B'fnei Habal, let's say 6 months she's by her husband, V'shisha Chadashim B'fnei Hayavam, and then the husband dies, and now it's 6 months to the Yavam, V'afilu Kulan B'fnei Habal, Chasr Yom Echad, even if all of the 12 months went by except for one day, almost the entire 12 months went by while the husband was alive, O Kulan B'fnei Hayavam, or let's say almost all 12 months went by with the Yavam, Chasr Yom Echad, and you're missing one day, in all of these situations, Eina Ochelas B'truma, she does not eat Truma. And the Ran over here explains, Va'afilu kulan b'fnei habal chasr yom echad b'fnei hayavam, even if they were all of those 12 months were while the husband was alive, except for one day, b'fnei hayavam, kachi ikar hagirsa, that is the proper girsa. Uperish Rashi zal sham b'perak afalpi. Now Rashi over there explains this line, the lav dafka chasr yom echad, it doesn't even need to be missing one day. Va'afilu kulan b'fnei habal, let's say she did all 12 months while the husband was alive, eina ochelas b'rishus hayavim, she can't eat b'rishus hayavim, you have to wait till you actually have the marriage. It explains over there, it says Kinyan Kaspo, here really she's the Kinyan Kesef of the brother. The only reason why it says over here Chasr Yom Echad, because we'd rather discuss by a woman who hasn't eaten yet the Truma at all. Rabbeinu Tam actually disagrees with Rashi. He says no, it has to be that it wasn't the full 12 months. However, if it would be a full 12 months while the husband was alive, that she was betrothed, Ochelas Mishal Yavam. According to Rabbeinu Tam, at that point in time, she actually would eat from the property of the Yavam. Dinhi the Yavam Eino Machel, granted that the Yavam generally doesn't give her from his property, Miolo Mifsada Midi Machmase, but she shouldn't lose out because of the situation with the Yavam. And in any case, the Mishnah continues, Zu Mishnah Rishona. This was the original teaching of the Mishnah. However, Bezdin Shalachareim Amru, but the later Bezdin, they said, Ein ha'isha ochelas betruma ad shetikonis l'chuppah, that a woman does not eat from truma until she actually enters the chuppah. Meaning again, according to the Mishnah Rishona, once the prescribed amount of time has went by, meaning the 12 months have went by and it was really time for the nisuin, so she's already allowed to eat truma, talking about a case by a regular husband, not by a yavam. But the Mishnah Achrona said that is not the case. She has to actually enter chuppah, and if she hasn't entered the chuppah, even if the amount of time has went by where it's time to enter the chuppah, she does not get truma. And so that's what the Gemara is saying. The Gemara is saying the Mishnah Rishona is like Rabbi Eliezer in our Mishnah, that the idea is once the amount of time has went by, so now already he provides her mizonos and she can eat truma. That seems to be identical. And the Gemara says, Amar le Abai, Abai said back to him, Dil Maloi, maybe it's not true. Adkan lo kash, me'inan Mishnah Rishona, elo lemechal betruma derabanan. Maybe the Mishnah Rishona, when it says she's allowed to have truma at that point in time, once the amount of time goes by, that's because by truma it's really only a halacha midrabanan. Really on a doraisa level, even an arusa is allowed to have truma from her husband, and it's only a din derabanan, it's a chumrah from the rabbanan that she can't have the truma. The Gemara gives various reasons for that, but maybe that's only by truma. Avol nedarim doraisa, but when it comes to nedarim, which is a doraisa issue, so there emalo, so there maybe I would say that's not the case. In other words, by nedarim, the fact that the husband can be mefer, is able to annul the vows, that is a halacha midoraisa, and so there maybe we say just because the amount of time has gone by, but still she's not considered a married woman, and therefore the husband on his own is not able to be mefer the nedarim. Again, by an arusa, the husband on his own is not able to be mefer the nedarim of his wife. He has to do it in partnership with the father, and again, that's a halacha on a doraisa level, so maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe you have to have the actual nisuin. And you can say the other way around as well. The adkan lo shamad leila Rabbi Eliezer elagabi nedarim. It could be that Rabbi Eliezer only said his halacha by nedarim. Kider Rav Pinchas mishmei de Rava. That would follow what Rav Pinchas says in the name of Rava. The Yamar who says kol hanoderes al das bala hinoderes. He says that there's really a logic to the idea that a woman's vows are able to be annulled by her husband, because there's a general principle that when the wife makes the vows in general, she's doing it al das bala. She's doing it with the understanding that her husband accepts the vows. And so therefore in that situation, so here where she's already reached the time of marriage, maybe that would be enough. We'll say she's making the neder anyway, al das bala, and that's why her husband is able to annul the vows in that case. Avol truma afilu midrabanan nami lo achla, but truma, even though it's only a halacha midrabanan that she's not supposed to have truma when she's an arusa, but still, if she's still an arusa, technically speaking, she hasn't actually gotten married, so maybe she wouldn't be able to eat the truma. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ayin Dalid Amud Aleph.